Today on Dr. Phill. She claims she was molested by her father.
Absolutely not.
He would never do anything to you.
Do you think it happened?
No. I'm telling you what our father did. He called me a liar.
Who's telling the truth?
That night, you're drunk, you're high on drugs.
I felt violated waking up and seeing my father there.
Didn't you say it was still dark in the room?
There was light from the street lamp.
You can't change your story every time I ask you a question. It was either dark or it was light. Let's do it.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by, Dr. Phill.
I try to be an emotional compass and point you in the right direction.
In 5, 4.
I am not giving up on you.
Go, Dr. Phill.
Well, it's a mother's worst nightmare. Your teen daughter, once daddy's little girl, tells you with tears in her eyes, "Mom, Dad raped me." Shocking, yes, but it's a reality for Tina, who says that ugly accusation left her with a huge decision. Who does she believe? The man she's been married to for nearly 30 years, or her youngest daughter? Now, before I tell you whose side she took, I want you to listen to what her daughter Megan describes as a night that changed her life forever, and why she now says she gets physically sick at the sight of her own father.
I believe that when I was 18, my father did rape me. Before I came home that night, I was with my brother and his girlfriend at the time. We were getting completely wasted. And then when I came home, I went straight to my room, took all my clothes off, no underwear, no bra, and I jumped into bed and passed out. I had a dream that somebody was having sex with me, and it felt very real. It was a black figure in my dream. I didn't see a face. It was on the street. When the man that was having sex with me finished, that's when I woke up and saw my father standing there. The covers were off of me when I woke up. I pulled my covers on me, started screaming, "Why are you in my room? Get out, get out." And he was telling me, "I'm looking for my cell phone, I'm looking for my cell phone," as I see him gathering himself, basically. I was so intoxicated that I immediately fell back to sleep. When I woke up the next morning, I was in tons of pain from drinking, the drugs. I didn't remember anything that night. I was, stumbling to the bathroom trying to find my way, and I was sitting there going to the bathroom, and I felt pain. Things slowly started coming back to me, and when I heard my father coming into the house, I started closing the door, and as I'm closing the bathroom door, we caught eye contact, and I saw his face, and he had this crazy grin on his face, like, "Ha, I got you." I saw nothing but pure darkness in his eyes. That's when I realized that it happened. Everything came back, everything. I am 100% sure that my dad raped me that night.
Well, as you can see, Megan says she is positive her father did this to her. But who did her mom believe? Megan says that after a year, this didn't happen right away, she finally had the courage to speak up. Her mother and older sister immediately called her a liar.
I waited a year to tell my family what happened. The first person I told was my older sister. She called me a liar.
Our father that raised us never laid an ill hand on us except to discipline us. I know that he is not a rapist and he's not interested in having sex with, his daughter.
But he's still a man. The men still have intentions, bad intentions.
Not against their daughter.
She told my parents, and I got a lot of angry phone calls, text messages. "How could you say this? You're on drugs, you're lying." They ganged up on me.
You woke up and Dad was on top of you. I mean, that's a horrible thing to say. I'm looking for facts, and I don't see any.
What fact is there gonna be? They made me feel like the bad guy, like I did something wrong. When we confronted my dad about it, he made a joke, actually, about it. He said it was because I hung out with the wrong crowd, so somebody must have broke into our home and hurt me. He called me a whore and a slut. I feel very uncomfortable being around my dad. If I'm wearing something short or low cut, I try to pull my blouse up. I'm just like disgusted with him. I can't look at him in the eye. Everyone thinks that my dad's this great godly man that would never hurt their children. They are wrong.
Okay, Megan, I'm glad to meet you and sorry for the circumstance. Why is your own family not believing you?
They trust my dad, and they feel like because I was on drugs and I was doing all these things that I just made up this crazy story to get back at them for something.
Mm-hmm. Is that a reasonable consideration on their part, that you were drunk and high?
I could see how, that would affect, and believe me, by, me being on drugs, me being drinking and stuff. I can see how they wouldn't believe that because of that circumstance. But, I mean, I'm your daughter, Mom. I'm your sister, Chrissy. Like, why don't you believe me?
As you go back through this mentally, emotionally, physically,
yes,
you are 100% sure he raped you?
I'm 100% sure.
You say you can't look at him now. You're disgusted when you see him.
Yeah, I'm disgusted. I get anxiety. I can't.
What do you want to happen here today? What's your goal in being here?
My goal is just getting the truth out and just letting them know, like, no, I didn't make up this story. This is something that happened to me and that has caused a lot of pain in my life.
Well, who's calling her a liar? Megan's mom, Tina, says she can barely look at her daughter and just wants Megan to finally tell the truth. Take a look.
I got upset. I felt sick to my stomach. My heart just fell to the ground. And I looked at Megan like, you're a liar. How could you lie to me and say things like that against her family?
There's no way in a million years that my dad would ever touch my sister sexually. When Megan told me about these accusations, I was in immediate protection mode of my little sister. I called my mom.
I hated her. At that moment, she wasn't my daughter for saying something like that. I looked her straight in the face and I said, you're a liar, and I hate you.
Why, after so many years, Dad has never done anything he's never done anything sexual to us, ever. Why would he try to do something so horrible to you?
She didn't just accuse my husband. It felt like we were all being accused. She just took a knife and just stabbed me. Stabbed my heart, stabbed my soul. I believe something happened to her. She likes to party, hang out with wrong crowds, so she could have been raped by somebody, but it was not my husband.
You say that this is like a knife to your heart. What's your reaction to this and what she's saying?
It is a knife to my heart. And what she's saying, I just can't believe that she's gone this far with it and ran with it.
Why don't you believe her?
Because of all the things that she's done, everything that she's been through, everything that...
Well, what has she done and been through that affects what happened that night? What are you saying that causes you to not look at her as credible?
For one, she's given herself to so many men.
You mean being promiscuous or you mean prostitution?
That and being promiscuous.
Both?
Both.
Just because they do that doesn't mean they can't be victimized by a sexual predator. We're clear on that, right?
Cleared. I'm cleared.
Do you think she believes it?
I think she believes in her mind that it did happen. In her mind. Not in our minds, but in her mind.
Do you think she believes this?
I think Megan believes it, yes.
Do you think it happened?
No, absolutely not.
She is 100% certain that it happened. You two are 100% certain that it did not.
Yes.
How can you be so sure you weren't there?
Right. Well, just based on her story alone, just the fact that she said it was a dream, and that she woke up and saw my dad in her room, that doesn't say that Dad raped her. And my dad has never laid an ill hand on us except to discipline us. And this is just extremely
Why would she make up
Far-fetched.
this lie? This is, if this is a lie, it is incredibly vicious. Why would she do that?
You know what? I honestly don't think that she's intentionally lying. I think that she's confused, and I think that she's misled by that dream and waking up to seeing my father in her room. But I know my dad. My dad would never, ever, ever, ever
Are you
touch
lying?
her
No,
in a
I'm
sexual
not
way.
lying.
You're 12 or 13 and you say you get things from men. How did you do that?
I needed food in my belly. I needed clothes on my back. They would offer me clothes and shoes for sexual acts.
And later, I'm going to ask you straight up, did you rape your daughter? How do you get along with your father before this accusation?
Before this, I mean, things were okay. Ever since I turned 13 and stuff, and he wasn't really there for me, and he always, you know, every time I went to my parents in general and asked them, hey, I need clothes, or hey, I need this for school, or hey, I want to try out for the basketball team, I need a jersey, or I need this for this, and, you know, they wouldn't give it to me, and my dad would always tell me, hey, go get a job, and I'm like, I'm 13 years old, how am I going to go get a job to support myself? Like, that's a little ridiculous, you know, and so obviously I found other means to get the things that I needed.
When you're 12 or 13?
Yes, when I was 12 and 13.
And what were your other means?
My other means were other men that would give me the things that I needed.
Mom and Dad were not rich. Mom and Dad were not rich.
Mom and Dad,
Whenever
we weren't
needed
rich,
something,
but we always had a nice roof over our
We
head.
always had
things.
everything. We
But
had
every
everything.
time I needed clothes or I needed something for if I wanted to go out try for basketball, like I said, I couldn't do that because I couldn't get the jerseys that I needed.
That's not true.
I couldn't do any of
You
that
had the
stuff.
jersey.
You're 12 or 13 and you say you get things from men. How did you do that? What would you do?
Well, they would offer me clothes and shoes for sexual acts,
And you're 12.
and I was 12 years old.
And so where would you meet these men?
Yeah, I'd go to the mall and.
How does this come up? You're at the mall, there's some guy at the mall.
Some guys, they come up to me like, oh, you're really pretty, you're very mature for your age, you know, and they would offer me things, and I needed them at the time, you know, I wanted them, I needed food in my belly, I needed clothes on my back, I wanted shoes, they made me feel pretty, and...
So you're now saying that you didn't have food to eat when you were 12 or 13?
There was times where I'd come home and I'd be like, Mom, what's for dinner? And she would be drunk and upstairs in her room.
Mom made dinners all the time.
No,
I
she
love
didn't.
Mom's dinners. Mom made the best dinners all the time. Sometimes
You weren't there,
Yes,
Chrissy.
Are you kidding me?
You were running around with your friends. You're 4 years older than me, Chrissy. You were
Doesn't
barely in the
matter.
household.
I still remember coming home.
So
and
you
Mom
went
made
to the
dinners.
mall
No.
instead and you performed sexual acts with men that would give you money for food or food,
Or they would
buy
just give
you
me
clothes?
money. They would buy me, you know, they'd take me out to dinner, feed me. They would give me
How
clothes.
much money would they give you?
They gave me like $20, and then they give me clothes.
And did you know about this?
No.
Are you just hearing about it now for the
Yes.
first time?
That's because they were never around.
I was always around.
You were always drunk.
I was working. I worked 7 days. I worked hard. I did what I had
No.
to do for the family. Don't say no.
I will say no because I know what
I
happened in my
know.
childhood.
I know.
was there.
I was there, but during your childhood, by the way.
Barely.
I was there.
You ran
We had
away,
the
Chrissy.
same
You
parents.
always ran away
Just because
with
I
your
ran away
boyfriends,
from
and you were
home.
always out partying with your friends.
I did.
You were
I
never
did.
there for
I
me. Every
admit
time I
that.
needed you, you were never there for me, ever.
I am so sorry that I was not there for you, Megan. I am so sorry. I was off doing my own stupid
Exactly,
stuff.
so you
learning
don't
my
know.
own
You
lessons,
weren't
and
there.
I'm sorry, Megan. I wish that I could have been there for you. But I wasn't, and I'm so
I know that, and I
sorry.
forgive you for that. And now, even when this is happening, I'm still looking at you in your eyes. I'm telling you what our father did, and you still sit
I
here
wish I would have
and you
been
call
there
me
for
a
you to take
liar.
you away from those people doing that to you.
Were you drunk upstairs?
No.
My mom has a drinking problem.
I work.
Are you an alcoholic?
Yes,
I don't
by
think
def-
so.
Yeah, she is.
Do you drink to excess?
I drink, but just when I come home from work, I drink
She starts drinking at 10 o'clock in the morning.
I don't.
And then
how can I when I have to work?
You get home from work at 10 o'clock. She goes to work at 5 o'clock in the morning, comes home by 10 o'clock, and has a freaking 40 ounce and a bottle of vodka and gets wasted.
No, I don't.
And by the time I get home from school, which is usually around noon or something, she's wasted and I can't even have a decent conversation with her.
Not
so
true.
you feel...
Not true.
Okay.
So you
So
feel
I'm lying.
like...
I'm always lying. I'm the liar. Thank you.
So you feel like your family wasn't there for you?
No.
Well, yeah, I've always said, and I will say again, I think sex crimes and certainly children being molested is a false positive situation in that you need to believe the accuser until you prove otherwise. You know, in the general criminal system, you're innocent until proven guilty. If a child comes forward and says they've been molested, they've been touched, they've been raped, you have to believe that until you investigate and determine whether it's true or not. Because the worst thing in the world you can do is have someone that has the courage to come forward and say that and then be rejected, judged, criticized, not believed. And now, I mean, they're completely lost. And there's the worst thing in the world you could do. That doesn't mean that you don't investigate the crime, because it is not fair to just drop the hammer on somebody that is innocent and has just been accused for other reasons. The man we're talking about, Robert, the father, is here and says Megan is absolutely lying and has fabricated her hateful and disgusting accusation with one goal in mind, and that goal is payback, because she did not like the way she was treated by this family. We're going to find out what he has to say after the break.
Megan has always been a problem child. It's obvious to me why Megan made this allegation against me, because she just simply wanted me out of the house.
And later, I have here polygraph results. When asked, did your father ever have sexual contact with you, you said?
Yes.
The results are...
There's always this little tiny voice inside of your head that tells you, well, anything's possible. But in this case, it's your father. I know my dad well enough. He just would never do something like that.
When a man walks in on a naked woman, the feeling that they get, then when a man walks in on his daughter naked, it's completely different.
Yeah, I understand that, but when Dad's constantly telling me how much I look like my mom,
that doesn't mean that he raped you.
I can't.
Well, Tina says her family was ripped apart when her youngest daughter, Megan, accused her father of coming into her room in the middle of the night and raping her as she laid passed out and naked from a night of drinking, drugs, and partying. Robert says, of course the family has taken his side, because Megan is making the entire thing up. And until she admits her lie, no one wants to be around her.
I was so devastated by Megan's allegations. I would never rape my daughter, or anyone else for that matter. I was never in her room at night, ever. I always go in the morning to get my cell phone because I need it for work. She usually passes out with the phone next to her somewhere. Didn't find it right away, so I had to wake her up, and she was in a really bad mood. She yelled at me, get out of my room, and here's your phone, and leave me alone. I don't know how a simple thing like going in to get my phone can turn into a rape allegation. My wife's room is next to Megan's room. She was home, my son was home, we had dogs in the house, they would have barked, someone would have heard something. When I found out a year later that Megan accused me of raping her, my heart stopped.
It was the truth. Why not go to
like when it happened,
an authority?
Wouldn't you like get the police over there? They do the rape kit, they find out the evidence, they do the steps. But those things never happened, and it was just, she didn't get her way one day, I suppose, and just decided to pin some dream that she had on me.
Megan has always been a problem child. Megan had drug problems. She's been into prostitution. We've even had a call from the FBI to come pick her up from their headquarters. It's obvious to me why Megan made this allegation against me, because she just simply wanted me out of the house. I've always been the person that tried to keep her in line, and she just wanted me out of the picture.
I know that her tears, they seem really real. I know that maybe something happened to her, but I know that it wasn't you.
Since those allegations, my relationship with Megan has been non-existent. Until we get to the bottom of this, I really can't have a relationship with my daughter.
Well, normally, I would never ask a rape victim to be in the same place with their alleged attacker. But in this case, they have spent a lot of time together since the allegation emerged, and they have both agreed that they're comfortable with being here as long as I'm here. All right, Robert, please come on out and join us. Good to meet you, sir.
Nice to meet you.
You've been listening to everything so far.
Yes.
I'm going to ask you straight up. Did you rape your daughter?
No.
So you didn't do it. You didn't touch her. You didn't rape her. Any of the things that she's saying took place?
Absolutely not.
So what is your explanation of this? Why is she targeting you with this allegation?
I believe it stems from me not giving her enough attention when she was growing up.
Why this particular allegation instead of you beat her or you whatever? Why this?
I think she just had so much pain in her, and she felt that it was all my fault that she was feeling this pain, and she just wanted to put her pain onto me. And now I feel pain, you know, so.
You understand, if you did this, you are one sick son of a bitch, right?
That would be true.
That would be true.
Yes, it
and
would.
what do you think should happen to somebody if they, in fact, did this?
I think they should be arrested and put in jail.
And if you did this, then you should be arrested.
Yeah, I would turn myself in because I think something was wrong with me.
Why not put him in jail? Why have you not filed charges and put him in jail?
Because I don't have the proof. Like that night when it happened, I wanted to go to the hospital so bad. I even asked my mom. My mom wouldn't take me, and I didn't want to.
The night that it happened?
The morning that it happened. My body was shaking. My head hurt so bad I could barely
where had
walk.
you been the night before?
The night before, I was with my brother and his girlfriend at the time, and we went down to Mexico, and we were at the bar, and we were drinking. And then after I hit my head, it increased.
And how did you hit your head?
I went to go get change from the bartender, and I went to go prop my body up on the bar, and I didn't see that there was a railing up there, and I smacked my head straight on.
You jumped up into it?
Yeah, I jumped into it, basically, so it was almost like full force.
Did it knock you out?
No, it didn't knock me out, but it definitely, you know, put me back to the ground, and I was just like, whoa, like that hurt really bad. And then, you know, I increased my alcohol drinking, I increased the cocaine to get rid of that pain. I even was sitting there with some ice on my forehead that the bartender had given me that night.
You're out partying, you hit your head enough that it knocks you to the ground. It's so painful that your reasoning is, well, I just need to drink more.
Well, to get rid of the pain, yes.
And do more cocaine.
Yeah, to get rid of the pain.
And so you get home about 2?
2, 3, maybe, yeah.
Okay, and so you just go into your room,
Yeah,
and you didn't say you went to sleep, you said you passed out.
I passed out. I went and took off all my clothes, and I passed out. And when I woke up, I saw him standing at my bed.
So dream sex woke you up, but being physically raped didn't wake you up.
No, the dream woke me up.
He's never, ever in his whole life have ever messed around on me. Ever. Ever. We've been married for 30 years. He's never done anything wrong. Ever.
No.
And he would never do anything to his daughters. Certainly not you.
Megan says after that horrible night, she created an alter ego named London. But with this new identity came a lifestyle that Megan says she is ashamed of, and she blames her family for forcing her to live that life. We'll find out what that's all about after the break.
After my dad raped me, I needed a way to support myself. I started to prostitute myself. I would put ads on Craigslist and meet about 3 or 4 guys a day. I started acting like a completely different person. I gave myself a new name, London, and she was a powerful woman. She was bossy. She was an extreme bitch. Nobody liked her. The whole time I was doing this, I was either on drugs or I was drinking. I didn't want to have sex with strangers. Like, that wasn't my ideal day. I needed a way to escape, and that was my escape.
But sadly, Megan says that wasn't the first time she felt like she had no other choice but to sell her soul and body for money and attention. As we talked about, shockingly, Megan says the first time she traded sex for money was at 12 years old. She places the blame squarely on what she claims was her parents' horrible parenting. What do you say to all of this?
Just hearing this backstage, when I was just listening backstage, my heart just caved in all over again from when I first heard her make that allegation.
I want to talk about what Megan has said about the night in question. As I as I look at this, and you guys can just see it from right there, when I look at this, there are versions. You said in the dream, the sex felt good and it was consensual.
Right.
But you then also said that it actually was scary and a nightmare. You said it was consensual, but then you said it was scary and a nightmare. And in the dream, you said that it was sex we'll call type 1, just kind of regular sex. But when you talk to the show, in the original email, you said you awoke in terror after having a dream of someone having sex with you.
Right, I woke in terror when I saw my father. That's when I was scared, when I saw my father.
Well, that's not what you said.
Yeah, well,
in the
that's what I
taped
meant.
interview, you said that it was consensual. I do enjoy recalling it in my dream and then waking up. And in a taped interview, you said the sex in the dream was type 2. I'm trying to help you figure this out as well.
I understand.
Because you're saying scary and nightmare versus consensual, and it was good. You told me here today that it was...
In the dream, it was consensual. I wasn't necessarily afraid in my dream, having the dream, but when I woke up to seeing my father there, that's when I woke in terror. That's when I was upset. That's when I was scared and I was screaming.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. You told Chrissy that you woke up to your father holding pants up as he made his way out of the room. Okay? Then you told us that you woke up to your father standing there, pulling something up. Assume it was his underwear. He was very close to my bed.
I remember him leaning over, picking up something from the ground, and as he's walking away out of my room, I see him like gathering himself. Like that's the only other way I can describe it.
Okay,
it's just
well,
gathering
let's
himself.
talk about that. You told Chrissy when you woke up, Father said nothing as you screamed for him to leave. And when you woke up, Father was shushing me to be quiet as I screamed, asking what he was doing. In the taped interview, when you woke up, all your father said was, "I'm looking for my cell phone."
Yeah, that's what he said. He said, "I'm in here." He told me when I woke up, and I was like, "What are you doing in my room? Get out!" He's like, "I'm looking for my phone. I'm looking for my phone." And I'm just like, just screaming at him.
Well, did you scream or not scream?
I did scream.
How loud did you scream? Show me how loud you screamed.
I said, "Get out!" Like pretty loud.
That's not screaming.
That's not loud.
Well, to me, I guess it was loud.
Okay, so you didn't scream. Because I'm wondering, you didn't hear anything.
I didn't hear anything.
You said the next morning, Dad gave you an evil smile and you put it all together. Okay, that's what you said to Chrissy. Then you said to us in the email, you made your way to the bathroom, you discovered the pain and the night flashed before your eyes, and you remembered everything.
Yeah.
Okay? But then in a taped interview, we said we caught eye contact while closing the bathroom door. He had a crazy grin on his face like, "Ha, gotcha." That's when I realized this had happened.
The look that I saw on his face was just like a ha-ha, like just this evil, like big grin and dark eyes, like it scared me, and I felt very uncomfortable, and that's when I closed the door and I like sat in the bathroom for quite a while, like trying to figure it all out, like what happened, and like I told you too, like I replayed this night over and over and over again in my head, and I want to believe that it wasn't my father, but when I piece together all these things, it's very hard for me to lie to myself and say, no, this didn't happen.
We're going to take a break. Megan's parents say playing the victim is nothing new for her. And they say that her holding on to this ugly story is just another example of Megan forcing herself to be the center of attention while playing the victim. You say that you had a head injury, drugs, and alcohol.
Yes.
Have you ever asked a doctor about this?
No, I never talked to a doctor. No, I never.
Because I want you to.
Yeah.
I'm bringing out a cell phone because one of our medical resources here is Doctor on Demand. It's an app you can put on your cell phone. You can touch it and be face-to-face with a board-certified physician in a matter of seconds. And this is my app. I've developed this, and we use it here with a lot of our guests. And I want everyone at home to fully understand the impact of pass-out level intoxication and what it has on the brain and the potential danger that it puts you in. I want you to understand that.
Please,
so joining us now is Dr. Ian Tong. Dr. Tong, good to see you again.
Hi, Dr. Phill. How are you?
Well, I am well. Now, look, first off, can you define what happens to your brain at the pass-out level of intoxication?
Sure. When you drink enough alcohol to reach severe levels of intoxication, you can have a few things happen. One, you have impaired judgment. Your ability to really be able to decipher between a conscious state and unconscious state also begins to diminish, which means you may not realize that you're going in and out of consciousness. And this is something that people often refer to as blacking out. Many drugs can cause that, but when it happens with alcohol, you often go in and out in what's called a fragmented blacking out. And when that happens, it would be very difficult to really decipher, I think, between reality or between a dream state.
Okay, and how about if you are mixing this with drugs in some way? In this case, cocaine. Yes.
So mixing drugs, almost every study that has been done on alcohol intoxication and the use of other drugs really shows the compound effect. So really you're increasing the potency of what the alcohol is going to do to your body. And one of the major effects can be confusion, and if pushed far enough, can even be coma. So the more alcohol and the more other drugs that are mixed with it,
I have a question.
Can really confuse your brain and again, your ability to decipher reality.
All right, Megan has a question for you, Dr. Tong.
I have a question. As far as like brain activity goes, like when you are in the passed out state and blackout stage, you have, from what I understand, you have very little to brain activity in that moment. So the fact that I was dreaming and I had this very vivid dream, could it be possible that in a way it was reality, but I perceived it as a dream?
Yes, I think if I caught all of that, the question was, can something that's actually happening seem like a dream state? And that is the tricky part here, is that the answer is yes, absolutely. It's difficult to decipher between the two.
When you are a blackout drunk, your level of brain activity, how would you describe that, is what I'm saying.
Are you saying, will you dream?
If you're blacked out drunk, do you have dreams like that?
Yes, you can still dream. Dr. Tong, we'll let you go because I've got some things to move on to, but I appreciate it. Thank you, and everybody at Doctor on Demand. We're going to take a break. With no hard evidence to prove either of their stories, Robert and Megan both ask if they could take a polygraph. They both want the truth to be revealed. Those results after the break.
Okay, Megan, let's go down this way to the examination room.
I am taking this test to prove to my family that I am telling the truth, that my father did rape me that night. I feel like I will pass this test 100%.
I'm about to take the polygraph test, and I hope to show my daughter that whatever she thinks of me is not true. I can't wait for the truth to come out and have this nightmare be over.
I have here polygraph results. This has not been opened. I don't want to open it. I will if I have to, but I don't want to open it. We know that you have felt set apart from this family for most of your life.
Yeah.
We know that you have felt like your mother was unplugged and drunk, at times completely unengaged. You felt that your father was harsh in terms of get a job, don't bug me, certainly not someone you consider to be nurturant.
Yeah.
You felt like they had a different relationship with you than they did with others in the family.
Yeah.
I have seen people that have that perception, true or false, that say, you don't give me your attention, by God, I'll get your attention. Hear me out.
I know.
I'm not saying this is you. I'm not saying this is you. I just want you to hear what I'm saying.
I'm listening.
And then I hear you say, I go out, I bash my head to the point it knocks me down. I'm drinking to excess. You say beer, shots, everything, doing lines of cocaine in the bathroom to the point that you passed out, which means your cognitive functioning became highly impaired. You were unable to maintain consciousness. Isn't it possible that you're just wrong?
I thought about it. I mean, it was definitely a thought in my head that I could be wrong and that, you know, I could have just been dreaming and I perceived the situation wrong. But the fact that I was naked and my covers were off my body and the fact that I woke up to him standing there.
Didn't you say it was still dark in the room?
There was lighting from the outside coming from the street lamp.
Okay, now you can't change your story every time I ask you a question.
I'm not changing my story. This was on tape.
It was either dark or it was light.
It was dark outside and there was light from the street lamp coming in.
You're drunk, you're high on drugs, you're still passed out.
I can't consider it because the way he was standing.
Can you tell me that you are certain that he raped you?
I don't even know. I can't. I want to believe that, yes, it happened because of my dreams and everything that I felt and stuff, but I did not wake up to the act of it. But yes, that's what I feel.
Do you want to withdraw this allegation or do you want me to open this polygraph?
I want you to open it. Because something needs to happen. Like, I don't know what it is, but this vision that I have is just, it's horrible.
I think she needs to know that my dad didn't do that
Yeah,
to
I
her.
need to know that my dad did not do that to me, because that's what I want to believe. I want to believe that he didn't do that. That's what my heart wants to feel, but I can't feel that way because I don't know what happened. All I know is what I felt and what I saw. That's it. Like, everything else is a blur.
This is Jack Tremarco right here. Jack, you conducted both of these polygraph tests.
I did, Doctor.
Were they good tests?
They were both good tests. Both took about 2 hours. Both Megan and Robert were, I would say, on the high side of nervous, but we worked through that.
I do not want to open this envelope because I do not think it will advance the healing in this family, but they want it open. I'll open it after the break. Okay, we're back. There is a serious allegation from this daughter that this father raped her. They have taken a polygraph, and I was in hopes of not having to open this. When asked, did your father ever have sexual contact with you, you said?
Yes.
Did your father ever have sexual contact with you in your room? You said.
Yes.
The results are that that was deceptive.
And that's fine. They told you.
We then spoke to Robert on the test. The questions were, did you ever have sexual contact with Megan? Your answer was?
No.
When she was a teen, did you ever have sexual contact with Megan?
No.
The results of the test are that it was non-deceptive. Was this a close call?
No, in order for Robert to have passed the test, he would have needed a +2, and he ended up with a +8.
Can you use this information to help yourself move on?
I can try. I mean, that's the only reason why I wanted this, was to know for sure, like, what happened that night, because I don't really know what happened. I just know what I felt. I know what I saw, and that's where I got these feelings. That's where I got this idea in my head that I was him.
If I get you some professional help to sort this out, are you willing to accept that help? Are you willing to do that work?
Yes.
You'll take some help to work through this. How do you feel about this at this point?
I'm relieved, but I'm also still sad that this all had to happen. And I'm still willing to forgive her. I love her. I love my family.
Well, okay. And so now it begins. This show is not the end of this, it's the beginning for this family. I do want to thank all of my guests today. A very special thanks to Jack Tremarco, and a special thanks to Dr. Tong and our medical team at Doctor On Demand for assisting us in helping you understand the impact. I'm proud to say that Doctor On Demand is my app and a company that I've put together, and if you at home want to have your own Doctor On Demand, you can go to Google Plays or App Store, download the app, push the button, and there you are. Thanks for being here. So long.
Today on Dr. Phill, their honor roll student is dating a bad boy.
You have been abusive with her?
Yes.
She's pregnant.
It sickens me. She's kind of half his child, my grandchild.
He's controlling.
You couldn't leave her alone to be interviewed.
It's about us being together.
That's not about being together. You're afraid she can say something that'll hurt you.
And violent.
You locked her in a bedroom, kids scream for help.
You get mad and you throw her out of the car.
Do you believe he could kill you? You know, as parents, your child's graduation day is a big deal. All of their hard work and determination has led to that one moment when they walk across that stage, grab their diploma, dreams of the future swimming in their head. It was no different for Katrina and Ed's youngest daughter, Kirsten. She graduated high school with honors and was headed to nursing school. Little did these parents know she'd never make it to her first day, because they say Kirsten met a boy, actually a man, a very, very bad man, according to her parents. Today's episode will have you pulling your hair out and screaming at your TV and thanking your lucky stars that it isn't happening to you and your child.
John and I have been together for about 7 months. I'm 18 and John is 30 years old.
I don't really see any problem with our age difference.
I'm Kirsten's older sister. I dated John 4 years ago, and I actually broke up with him because he was way too controlling. When I first met John, I took Kirsten with me, and she immediately nicknamed him Creepy John and Crazy John.
When I met John, he said all the right things. I tried to be open-minded. My husband, Ed, did not like John at all.
Once I learned the age difference, I knew he was no good. I refused to talk to John.
After about a month of dating, John and I moved in together. I love him more than I've ever loved anybody.
Your parents are trying their best to keep us apart and to break us up.
If John thinks I'm trying to keep my daughter away from him, that's the one thing he's got right.
Well, Kirsten's dad has a very good reason to keep John away from his daughter.
John can be really abusive towards me.
When I get mad, I get a surge of rage that flows through my body. I can't control it.
One time, John got really mad and grabbed me by the throat. John has told me he was going to beat me the up.
She grabbed me by my face. I retaliated by digging my elbow into her. She had a bruise afterwards, pretty bad bruise.
Recently, John has thrown me on the bed and covered my mouth and my nose, and I couldn't breathe. I fear that someday John will kill me.
Okay, guys, how did we get in this situation? Because you forbid her to see him.
The day I found out, I basically put her on lockdown. I didn't.
He forbid her to see him, but you went behind his back, let her use your phone to call him, and you enabled her to re-engage in this relationship.
Yes.
Right before they left, she had her cell phone on her dresser. I looked down because it went off, and it was John's name on her phone. At the time, I didn't call her out on it because I wasn't sure. But when they left, I got on our account, and I looked up, and I saw that they were texting back and forth. I had my daughter's phone blocked from his, but my wife was letting her use her phone.
You knowingly put her back in touch with and relationship with an ex-convict that's on probation with violent and aggressive behavior, already has a baby with somebody else that he has no contact with. I mean,
I didn't know his aggressive side. I didn't know his whole background of his charges when I first met him. He charmed me. He only gave me one charge that he was arrested for. I just knew about the burglary. I thought he did his time. It was a couple years ago. Maybe he has changed. I didn't know.
Well, to complicate matters even more, Kirsten is now expecting this man's baby.
I am currently 3 months pregnant with John's baby. I'm very excited about having a baby. Our thought process was my family would come around and accept him because he would be the father of their grandchild.
As far as their father, brother, and sister, no, they've never been supportive.
My family has not come around.
It's absolutely ridiculous that Kirsten assumed that if she got pregnant, the whole family would just be accepting of John.
This is a parent's worst nightmare.
How do you feel about this part of the deal?
It sickens me that he's even been with my daughter, let alone that she's kind of half his child. It's my grandchild. He's nowhere mature enough to, I mean, he's proven before he has a kid he can't see now. And now he's supposed to help raise my grandchild. And
this is a dangerous and violent man.
Yes.
He has spent almost his entire adult life in prison. He spent 10 years behind bars. He's 30.
that's the first time I've heard that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, well, we'll do the math for you. Now, Kirsten admits her 7-month relationship with John has been, to quote her, hell.
A few weeks ago, Kirsten and I got into an argument. She went to her parents' house and she had a phone that I had given her. I was extremely mad and I wanted my phone back.
John came over with his car and blocked our driveway. Started calling the house phone, my cell phone.
Call the cop. Get my phone. You want her away from me? You want us done? Give me my phone.
I felt scared. John was completely out of his mind. I called the police. The first thing when they came in, they said, "Are you aware that he's on state parole?" I said, "No." In hindsight, I should have had John arrested. Had I done that today, John would no longer be with my daughter. John would be behind bars where he belongs.
Well, ordinarily, I would have spoken with Kirsten alone or with her family, and then we would have added John to the conversation. But John refused. He said he did not want Kirsten to be out here by herself. He wanted to be with her the entire time. We're going to meet Kirsten and the boyfriend that her family desperately wants gone, plus a fight involving this whole family when we come back.
You get mad and you throw her out of the car?
You barricaded her in a bedroom and locked her in a bedroom, wouldn't let her out.
Are you a reasonable option?
John controls everything that my daughter does. He reads all of her text messages, needs to know where she's at all times.
Is it possible to interview you and get started with someone who you? Is that possible to get some shots of her?
Together. That's the only way I'm going to do it.
You guys want to be together the whole time? Okay.
They're going to now join us together. So Kirsten and John, come on. The father here has never spoken to John. This will be a first time. Hello, John.
Hi.
How are you? Kirsten, how you doing?
All right.
Have a seat right here if you would. You two are in a relationship, correct? You're pregnant.
Correct.
How far along are you?
About 3 months.
About 3 months? Mm-hmm. And do you plan to get married?
Someday we hope to.
Uh-huh.
We realize we have a lot of problems that need fixed before we even think about marriage.
Uh-huh.
He's never going to be accepted. Get that through your head. Never.
So you had this baby on purpose?
I thought that it might help with the acceptance.
It's more of a fact of if they wanted to be around the baby, they would have to be around him. And that's something we've never all experienced at once.
Okay, well, that's what I'm trying to figure out what your thinking was. So the idea was to have a baby and hold it hostage unless they were willing to interact with John.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's kind of.
Yeah.
Was
I
there
mean,
any other way to think of it?
I would have allowed them to see our baby.
You wouldn't even let your mom go to the appointments.
She was being secretive to him about my counseling session for no reason, and his choice was to tell her that she couldn't come to any more baby appointments. She was already at one ultrasound.
But he already knew you were going to counseling. He didn't need to know where it was or who the lady was, so he could follow us and stalk us. That was between me and you. I was getting you help. I was paying for that.
Follow and stalk when I work from 4 a.m. to 6 p.m. at night. How could I follow and
Do you
stalk
work
while I
every
was
day,
working?
John?
Yeah, I was working that day.
How many hours do you work a day? Not every day you
Average.
don't work 8 hours.
No, average I work
You have
about
off.
13.
Okay.
That day I was working a 13-hour day.
Okay.
John, let me ask you, do these folks have reason to be concerned about you?
They all have reason to be concerned about me. I mean, it's in my past, it's in my actions.
You won't leave her alone. You couldn't leave her alone to be interviewed. Are you that afraid of her?
No, I'm not.
Are you
that
afraid
of
she'll speak her mind or the truth will come out?
She can speak her mind even with me sitting here.
Really?
No.
Then why didn't you let her get interviewed alone?
Because I wanted to be there, because
Why?
it was about us being together. That's what this
That's
whole...
not about being together. You're
this
afraid
entire
of her
situation-
individuality. You're afraid she can actually say something that'll hurt you.
I just want to say I was very honest in my interview, and nothing with him sitting there. I didn't.
But Kirsten, it's not normal.
You've come to us how many times saying you're afraid of him? That's
Yeah.
why you
But
stay.
your
yes, I've been
words.
afraid of him.
Your
You
words.
love him, but you
Yes.
hate him as much as you
Yes,
love him.
I do.
Why do you
He
keep
knows
going
that.
back to him? You bawled to me on my couch. Why do I keep going back to him, Mom? Why can't I stop?
Because I'm stuck. I mean,
And I
I
You're
told
not
you I didn't
stuck.
know.
Your option's here. It's not there. That's stuck.
You
I
don't
do
need to
love
be
him.
controlled.
That's not leaving an option.
You're being controlled.
What's not
Why
an
is it not an option?
Saying that her option is there and this is not an option, that's cutting off options.
You cut
Options
off
should be an
options.
option
She
for
can't
her
have
should be
friends.
an option for her should be whatever she decides.
Okay, are you a reasonable option?
At the moment, right now, no. I have problems that I need to work on.
Okay, then why are you in this relationship?
I want to stay in the relationship. I want to work through it.
Even though it's not in her best interest?
At
This is the same
at the
relationship
moment, it
that
might
you
not be
keep
in her best
throwing her out.
interest.
Is that the relationship you want? You get mad and you throw her out of the car?
Whenever we have an argument and she breaks up with me and decides to run
And you
off,
throw her
yes,
out.
When
I
she's
throw
walking
her
down
out.
No
the street and you
shoes,
pick her up,
no
throw her in the
phone,
back seat and
no
take off
nothing.
with her, and she said if she would have had her cell phone, she would have called 911 for kidnapping.
Well, see, I'm
When you barricaded
concerned.
her in a bedroom and locked her in a bedroom, wouldn't let her out, and she had to scream for help, and she had to run to the neighbors and call me after you texted me and
I
said
told
get
her
her
that
out
I
of here.
wanted to speak to her, and I
You throw
sat
her
in front
clothes
of the
outside and
door
text me in the
playing
middle
a
of my brother's
game on a
wedding?
cell phone while she trashed the room.
No, I think you
There's
ripped her
the
clothes
pictures of
down
it.
first.
Does
I
this,
didn't take anything down.
Okay.
let me interrupt here for a second. Y'all don't need me here to bicker. Do you think this is reasonable?
No.
Because he agrees he's not a good candidate. You agree he's not a good candidate. They agree he is not a good candidate. So give me your logic.
I've tried to leave him several times, but a lot of the times I think about all the good times.
Right?
I mean, he is my best friend. He does do a lot for me. I mean, yeah, when times are good, they're good. And when they're bad, they're bad. Really bad.
What has he done for you? I'm the one paying for the doctor visits. For the baby, he's not. He gets money from
has
his dad
told
every
me.
Thursday.
He has told me he would pay for that.
Do you have
told us
furniture in
we
your
were paying-
apartment?
You told us we were paying for that, and yes, now we do have furniture in our apartment.
I want to find out how these two have interacted with us since they were booked on the show. We'll be right back.
I feel very isolated. My life now has become just John and I.
I say, Kirsten, you're his puppet. He has complete control over you.
He has brainwashed her, and I see a girl now that just bows down to this awful man. I tried to get Kirsten into counseling. She went to 2 appointments, and then she took off and went back to John.
I thought she wanted to get me into counseling to help me be stronger and have a healthier mindset. It was actually to tear John and I apart. The counselor told me that I should leave John, that he will kill me.
We've been talking to Kirsten's family about Kirsten's boyfriend and father to her future baby. Now, her mother, Katrina, says her eyes were open wide when she learned the full extent of John's criminal history.
Recently, I went to the courthouse and I found out a lot more than what John originally told me.
I believe John deserves a second chance. People need to stop judging John and be more open-minded.
John was arrested for burglary, false statements, breaking a PFA.
One time when I was talking to John, he did mention, don't be alarmed if someone comes to you and says anything about raping any girls, because it's not true.
I've done close to 10 years incarcerated. I was 19 when I first went to jail for criminal mischief. I did 5 months. I got the burglary charge. I was sentenced 6 months to 7 years. I violated, I think twice I went back for 18 months to 2 years. I think that's why I'm as aggressive as I am. I'm in the process of turning my life around.
I'm not judging him from his past. He had a chance to prove to me that he was a good person, that he was changed, man. He has not changed one bit.
You used the word, you said, that's why I'm so aggressive. What do you mean aggressive?
By aggressive, I mean the way that I'm protective or I'm over-controlling, or pretty much whenever you're incarcerated, everything that you care about, you have to fight for.
You've done close to 10 years, and you're only 30.
Yeah.
So most of your adult life, you have been in prison. And several of those times you've been in prison because you got out of prison and they said, here are the rules to follow while you're out. And you couldn't follow those rules, correct?
No, I couldn't.
John's been very controlling since we booked you guys on the show. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
He tried installing an app on her phone to record all of her activity, calls and texts. You aware of that?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Overly watched.
He had to be home when she sent physical abuse pictures in order to see what was sent. Correct?
No, I was not home for those pictures. The pictures that I had to be home for was the pictures that had property damage inside of the apartment.
Texted the show from Kirsten's phone and said we are requiring a female interviewer for the field shoot.
I think he told me to do that when we were laying in bed at the time.
So he told you to do it?
Yes, he did tell me to do it.
He uses her phone quite often.
That's how I found out she was pregnant.
Oh, this is Kirsten.
You started an argument minutes into Kirsten's pre-interview. The AP heard fighting and then the phone went dead, correct?
Correct.
That's
so you
correct.
wanted to disrupt the process.
That's correct.
After the fight, John said he couldn't be separated from Kirsten while doing anything for the show. John has backed out of the show at least 5 times, says he's doing the show because he loves you.
He wants 15 minutes of fame.
I wouldn't even be here if it wasn't.
You said it.
You said it.
Those were your words.
Yes,
Those are my
you
words.
did.
I don't care.
I don't even want to be on this show.
You know
Seriously?
what's weird is when she wrote in, they weren't together, so she wrote in to get help, to get away and stay away.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't even 4 days later that they got back together.
I got more help. I felt like I was falling apart. I was extremely depressed. I know I do love this man, but I knew there was really big problems.
He is the only thing allowed to be in her life.
You have been physically abusive with her?
I have, yes.
And what did you do to her?
I've grabbed her by the arm. I've put my hand on her neck. I've pushed her on the bed.
You kicked her out in the middle of the night with no bra, no shoes on, no phone. You kicked
That's not physically abusive.
Tell them about the bruise on your arm
her
the
out at
size of
night.
a
You let a
softball.
17-year-old out at 3 a.m. in the morning, hiding in a parking lot, calling
How
her
many
friends
times has she
scared.
just ran out of the
Her
apartment?
phone's
and left?
dying.
We don't know.
How many
Yeah,
times
how
did you
many
knock
times?
the door down at the beach? You knocked the door down and took the phone that
Good,
was
stand
I
me
paid
down.
for and broke the phone, smashed it.
Well, I made a list, actually, of abuse.
You're real cool, John.
I made a list of John's abusive behavior according to you. This is what you told us, that he has hit the brakes, causing Kirsten's head to slam into the dash. Yes. And he would do that repeatedly, right?
Yeah.
He'd be like
Yes.
that, just keep going and keep going. True?
That's true.
Is there any other piece of information that you need to have that this man does not have your best interest at heart, that he goes into a rage and loses control of himself?
I know he does that. It's just, like I said, it's very hard for me. Like, I've left him multiple times and I've fallen right back.
Okay, but you understand that's not normal.
Yeah.
That's not okay.
Yes, I do understand.
He's grabbed Kirsten's throat and pushed her against the side of the car, locked her in the bedroom for trying to visit Grandma without him. Kirsten screamed for help before released. He bit Kirsten's lip, then bruised her arm and dug his elbow into her arm and says, "How does that feel?" Threw a bucket of ice and a bucket of water on Kirsten and threatened her with another bucket of water unless she joined him in bed. How is that okay with you?
It's not.
Well, apparently it is, because you continue to be with him, which means you're enabling him. You're not helping him, you're enabling him to abuse you.
Kirsten, it's not normal.
I know.
You know it's not.
So why do you stay?
You don't need to be with him. You don't need it.
Look what he's done. I've been with you for
You deserve better than
this
that.
whole relationship, and you turned your back on me, and you destroyed me.
Look, I'm sorry.
You know you have destroyed me. I'm on medicine because I lost my daughter to this horrible man. And you expect me to want him in my life after everything that he's done to you? I can't do it.
Can I give her a hug?
Do whatever you want.
I'm so sorry.
You wrote me a letter on June 30th of this year. Have you read this?
No.
John, you haven't read this?
He's never heard.
You said, "Dr. Phill, I need your help. I'm 18 years old, dating a controlling and possessive 29-year-old. We've been together a few months now, and things keep getting worse." He says, "I'm a sick, disgusting bitch." And you end that letter by saying, "Dr. Phill, I need help. I fear for my life. I'm stuck in an extremely abusive relationship, but I can't get out." Then, on 9/11 of this year, just a few weeks, you said, "I'm begging for help," all caps. "I am now pregnant. 10 weeks as of today, he's mentally, physically, emotionally abusive. I've lost all of my friends. I'm losing my family. He's making me choose. He's thrown things at me. He's picked me up in the middle of the street and thrown me in the back seat of the car. I'll write to you every day if that's what it takes. I have not talked to him for a few hours. He's been sitting outside my parents' house now for 2 hours because I won't give him the phone. I'm falling apart. I just need something, anything. Please help me."
I was desperate, yeah. I felt like I was drowning.
You are.
Yeah.
You feel that way because you are. Next, Kirsten says John has an 18-month-old baby with another woman that he's not allowed to see. We're going to find out why when we come back.
It completely shocks me that in a few months' time, my sister has done a complete 180. She told me, "Well, I'm gonna do what I wanna do," and we got in a big fight, and she said, "Well, then you can consider me dead."
Kirsten thinks she's going to raise this baby with John in this apartment they have. At this point, Kirsten has no job, no financial means of supporting herself or this baby. Eventually, my husband and I are going to be helping her raise this baby.
They have absolutely no clue what they're doing.
I don't need support from other people. I know for a fact we can do it on our own.
My daughter has no idea what she's gotten herself into.
Do you agree that you are in an abusive relationship?
100%.
Do you believe that he could seriously hurt you or kill you?
Yes.
And I have a list of the things that have happened here. I mean, he accuses you of being with other people, right?
Right.
He constantly looks through your phone, correct? He's deleted your Facebook and 300 followers on your Instagram. Promised no more fights if you would just get rid of them.
Yeah.
How'd that work?
It didn't.
He now has to use John's email, and the couple shares one Facebook account. Kirsten can't apply for certain jobs like a waitress because you can't talk to or look at guys, right?
Yeah, I have to flirt in order to be a waitress.
She can't even come to my house, Dr. Phill, without him texting her nonstop and
Kirsten
yelling at her.
can't visit the family of John if he's off of work because that's his time. He has jealous behavior, correct?
Yeah.
Why is this okay with you?
It's not.
Based on results, it is.
I feel very weak. I mean, when I'm away, I get very depressed. I mean, I had to sleep with my mom for several nights when I wasn't with him because I couldn't sleep alone. I mean, she sat with me through tons of breakdowns. It's really hard for me.
You're 18.
Yeah.
And then when you break up, where's he go? He goes to the bar drinking. And then he goes and takes women home from the bar, sleeps with them. Goes buys cocaine.
Okay, you now are pregnant.
Yeah.
You have responsibility to protect this child. Do you feel that responsibility?
I feel it. I know I haven't done the best at it. I know it's very unsafe, especially at times where he does grab a hold of me and throw me down.
Well, I can understand that you don't want to be depressed and upset and have to sleep with your mother until you get through this, but you now are responsible for a child that doesn't have a voice. Now, he was in a relationship with an ex before, and she says that he never actually hit her until after the baby was born.
She told me he never hit her at all.
I've never hit her.
But you
I don't have
says
to lie
anyway,
about it.
right?
I don't have to
You
lie
never
about
say
it.
the truth.
She's the one that said it.
She told me she's never been hit by him.
Well, I'm telling you what she's told us.
Right. Well, I believe
She said she was never hit by him until after the baby was born. She says he threatened to cut her up in little pieces and pour Drano on her.
Really?
Yes. That's what she said. She has a restraining order against you, correct?
She does have a restraining order because I didn't show up for a custody hearing in Georgia.
You don't get restraining orders for failing to appear at a custody hearing.
That's when it got placed into play, was when I didn't show up for
Well,
that.
it wasn't, you said it was because. It wasn't because.
It was because of threats that I've made about her family.
Threatening to kill
So
them.
you've made threats against her family?
To her, yes, I've mentioned different things to her.
What
yes.
did you say you were going to do to her family?
Any kind of get physical with them.
Does he make threats about us?
not like death threats, no. I mean,
Are you?
he has made threats, yes.
You're afraid of leaving him because of that?
Sometimes.
Kirsten, I don't fear this guy. I don't fear him at all.
Well, Kirsten, hang on, let me listen. Has he poured things on you before?
Yeah.
He's poured water on you? He's poured ice on you? He's threatened, according to her, to pour acid on her? You know, that strikes really close to home to me because I have a very close family member who I love very dearly that had that done to them. That's Cindy Broadus. That's Robin's older sister.
Never even seen anything like that.
And she had how many operations so far, Robin?
She's had over 25 reconstructive surgeries.
Over 25 reconstructive surgeries. Listen, this happens. Women get set on fire.
That's what my counselor told me.
Look at these pictures of women set on fire. The woman in the middle and the woman on the far right It was only verbal until the day they were set on fire. John's ex and the mother of their 18-month-old baby says that John shook their baby after the baby accidentally headbutted him. Is that true or false?
John has a restraining order on him from his son's mother.
John has an 18-month-old child with somebody else.
John can't really see him at all. On Father's Day, he asked the baby's mom if he could just come see him for 15 minutes and was told no.
John's ex and the mother of their 18-month-old baby says that John shook their baby after the baby accidentally headbutted him. Is that true or false?
That's completely false. I held him out in front of me and said, take him like this.
I just want you to have a full set of information. I asked Dr. Pat Basu to join us. He's the Chief Medical Officer of Doctor on Demand, which is our own company for telemedicine. It's our family business. Dr. Basu, how are you, sir?
Doing well, Dr. Phill. How are you?
Well, I am well. Tell me what shaken baby syndrome is.
Sure. Shaken baby syndrome is a form of child abuse. In babies in particular, there is a problem because the baby's brain is underdeveloped and the stabilizing muscles in the neck are not fully formed yet to protect that baby's brain. And perhaps most importantly, the baby's brain is a little bit looser within the skull because the bottom of the skull has grooves in it for blood vessels and nerves and other things to run through. It's sharp and it basically scrapes and causes a jagged surface for that brain to slide across and roll around under when it's shaken vigorously.
We're seeing essentially a whiplash effect, and you see the bleeding starting to form, and this is often fatal, correct?
That's correct, Dr. Phill.
All right, Dr. Basu, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you and everyone at Doctor on Demand. So, what do you hear the doctor saying here?
A lot of dangerous things. Nothing positive.
All right. Are you willing to take that risk? You need to think about that. Next, will Kirsten stay with John or do as her family wishes? We're going to find out what she thinks and what John thinks when we come back. Kirsten, what do you want to do?
I want to raise my baby in a happy, healthy home. Raising a baby alone is better than raising it in an abusive environment.
John, what do you want?
I want us to get help and work through things together.
John, here's the problem. You are an at-risk individual.
I agree.
I think you know that you get into a panic and sometimes a panic rage where after the fact, you can't believe if you even remember some of the things that you do.
I agree.
I do not believe he is evil to the core. I do not believe that he wants to hurt you or the baby, and I think he would be sorry on death row when it happened. And you may say, well, but, you know, I love him, I want to be him. When it's good, it's good. Now, you're smarter than that. He does need help. Nobody's ever tried to help him. They've just judged him and caged him. True?
That's true.
Why don't you let me get you some help seriously to stop this from going on inside you? Why don't you have it fixed so you can go and be a partner, be a father, be the kind of man that you are truly proud of?
I'm willing to.
Will you take that help?
Yes.
You need to be out of this relationship absolutely, unequivocally, until that is done.
Okay.
There is no question about it. And he needs to respect your right to do that. And if you can't do that, then you need to go somewhere that he can't find you.
Okay.
And if that's what it takes, I will make those arrangements for you as well. You're telling me right here you are willing to separate from him at this point unless and until he does what he needs to do to get himself under control and go protect you and your baby. You are making that commitment to me right now.
Yes.
Are you willing to support that?
Yes.
Ed, you willing to support that? Sis?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What do you want to say?
I just love her. I just want her back.
Ed?
We're always here for you. Don't think that anybody can say anything or do anything to you or to us that's going to change that, okay? Always here.
I love you.
I love you too.
Oops.
When we come back, my wife Robin has been busy with her foundation when Georgia smiled. I get to brag about her latest news after the break.
I am asking you to join me to help stop abuse of any kind.
I teach family dynamics at Whitehall High School. My favorite resource is Robin McGraw's Aspire curriculum. We've learned a lot about relationships, dating, how to know if you're in a toxic or an abusive relationship.
The Aspire app has a function I call the go button that you can activate the moment you are in danger.
Thank you so much for the Aspire app. I do have a friend, she unfortunately did have to use it. We got her out of the situation she was in, so thumbs up. Good job.
I just want to thank you for your Aspire initiative. I have had my students go on and listen to the videos, and I know that initiative is saving lives.
Thank you, Robin.
Well, I hope you're proud of all that.
Oh, I'm so proud. That was very emotional to watch that. Yes, I'm very proud.
Last year, Robin created a foundation named after her mother, and the foundation is called When Georgia Smiled.
Its mission is to help empower and stand up for anyone who is being abused or neglected. One of the first programs we launched was the Aspire Initiative, which is an interactive curriculum for all ages. The Aspire Initiative includes a potentially life-saving free smartphone app, Aspire News.
And since its launch, 150,000 people have downloaded the smartphone app, with almost 1,000 additional downloads happening every single week. And thank you. When the United Nations saw Robin on the show talking about the Aspire app, they were so impressed and moved by her efforts that they reached out to me and wanted to thank her directly, because domestic violence is not something that just happens here in the United States. Sadly, it is a global issue.
He dragged me from home, had a knife, told me to take off my pants and my underwear, and then that's when he started raping me.
He would get drunk, he would beat me. He would put his gun inside my mouth and tell me, I'll leave your brains splattered on the wall.
If you experience or witness violence, do not keep silent. Help is available. Speak out, seek support, and help save lives.
Please welcome Phumzile Mlu Bunaka. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Robin, for doing this. We work with women around the world who need Aspire, and you saw in the video, all over the world, this is the challenge.
I want you to talk about a very exciting campaign that you're doing, the He for She campaign. Talk about that a little bit.
This is where we are calling on good men to come forward and to accept being the champions of ending gender inequality of all forms. And in that process, you just go into a website, heforshe.org, and you accept being a he for she. But that implies that you're willing to take action to do something.
If you want to be that good man that steps up, go to heforshe.org and take the pledge. That is so, so important. And today, I'm going to heforshe.org, and I am signing up. And I want every one of my viewers, if you're a guy, do it. If you're one of the women that watches the show, get your husbands, get your sons, get your son-in-laws, get your brothers. Go to heforshe.org. Get your boss. Get everybody. Go sign up. Okay, but don't stop there. There are other ways to help.
That's right. My foundation, When Georgia Smiled, receives substantial support from the sales of select Revelation products, which in turn allows us to then allocate funding to domestic violence programs. One of those products I hold dear to my heart is named after our granddaughter, Avery. It is called the Avery Lasting Love Lip Gloss Collection, which contains 4 different shades of lip gloss.
And because Robin's Foundation is all about giving back, I'm proud to say that the total net proceeds of sales from the lip gloss collection directly benefits domestic violence programs. If you want to help contribute, go to whengeorgiasmiled.org to learn how.
Before we go, I want to gift everyone in the audience today with a lip gloss from my collection. And that's not all. I also want everyone in the audience to experience the 30-day kit of my skincare line, Robin McGraw Revelation.
Log on to robinmcgrawrevelation.com to learn more. All right, I want to thank all of my guests today, and a special thanks to the Executive Director of UN Women, Phumzile Mlambo-Ngata. Thanks so much. Goodbye. Here we go. Let's go.